What's up, guys? Welcome to the home shop. This is actually the shop that I started working in. It's my dad's shop. Recently moved back home and got set up in here, so let me show you around. Currently I've got the truck just jacked up right now, and since my last recording I haven't shown very much. Kind of started tackling some body work. Reason I've been kind of focusing on the body work aside from the engine project is mainly because of this. As you can kind of tell, I got the heads decked and cleaned up. Got them done by Larry Smith in Rome, Georgia. I had them come through and just deck these about 15 thousandths. And since I did that, it does increase the compression ratio, but it also increases the risk of some issues we might run into with piston to valve clearance. But that's completely fine with me. We're going to test this out and just go through this experiment. Like I said, I did get these milled 15 thousandths over. I did the cheap Summit compression ratio calculator, and it came out to be around 11.5 to 1 compression. Now that's taking into consideration the stroke and bore size and the dome that we have on the piston style we're using, which is just flat top, meaning dead zero. Obviously from my last videos, I've shown you the machining process of these. And since my last video, I have fabricated an exhaust manifold. I haven't completed the manifold, but I'm hoping by the end of the week that I get it done. The caps need to be welded on the end. Aside from that, we have the ports done, and they've been ran on a belt sander for high and low spots. I believe we're going to be just fine for a graphite gasket. I've opted to try and actually reduce the inlet size on the turbo and use a internally regulated turbo to just see how it functions and how it spools and it behaves with the style of exhaust and intake flow that we're doing. Overall, this is probably the cheapest and most ridiculous looking way of doing and going about this, but this is the quickest and easiest way to prototype this little system. So I'm going to just do this for now, and later on I'll consider some better manufactured options. When it comes to the intake side, now that I've got the exhaust almost squared away, I'm just going to be buying the LT header flange. Obviously, this side I did have to drill out a little bit more, so I will have to drill one of the sides out. I could use a stock LT header gasket with gray silicone, and it'll seal up just fine. An MLS gasket seals pretty good, and especially considering that the head gasket for an LS and all these model of engines actually uses a thin layer of rubber on the multi-layer steel gasket for the water jackets and the compression rings, it makes a lot of sense just to run some gray silicone with these. All the surfaces are really flush. I'm sure it's going to seal just great. Aside from that, I don't really have much to show you. I did get the interior painted, or at least the bottom half of the floor. We're not going for show quality over here. We just want something that looks decent. I did put a different gas pedal in here. This is the same bracketry that I ran before with my traditional pedal, but I decided I'm going to run this little sustain pedal off of my first ever piano. Reason I wanted to do that was to kind of pay homage to something about me that goes with the truck. My first piano was important to me. I got it when I was about 14, so I burned it with some friends, and I decided, shoot, I'll turn it into the gas pedal on my truck. And I chose the sustain pedal because you press it the most. Aside from that, not much has changed on the truck other than moving it here and getting the shift linkage hooked up, and maybe the steering shaft and the steering column all put in just for being able to steer it to get it moved. Not much has changed. Really excited to keep going on this project. I'll keep y'all updated.